The caliper measures the slope of the bone, a kingdom of silence carved deeply in stone. White marble pillars that reach for the sun. The dream of the master has only begun. But under the pen is still deep in the clay. The pistons are pounding the logic away. A blueprint of ghosts in a cold steady hand. The temple is rising across the scorched land.
The columns are standing in rows of pure thought, ignoring the fever the furnace has brought. A goddess in limestone with eyes wide and blind. The peak of the balance we hoped we could find. Yeah,
Grease stains the altar and soot fills the air. The grinding of iron is everywhere. The geometry shatters as oil meets the grace of every perfections we try to embrace. The compass is spinning in circles of dust. The ivory towers are turning to dust. We built for the ages but welded the lie. The gear and the statue beneath the gray sky. The lever and breaking the stillness of light. As cold heavy metal dissolves the upright. A beautiful failure of angle and wheel. The soul of the marble is broken by steel. The compass is spinning in circles of rust. The ivory towers are turning to dust. We built for the ages but welded the lie. The gear and the statue beneath the gray sky. The lever is breaking the stillness of light. As cold heavy metal dissolves the upright. A beautiful failure of angle and heel. The soul of the marble is broken by steel.
the forge never sleeps in the belly of halls, with shadows of engine death over the walls. The symmetry bleeds as the pressure builds high. A scream from the boiler ascends to the sky. The chisel is blunt and the furnace is red. The spirit of Euclid is finally dead.
We worship the friction and pray to the spark, while classical arches collapse in the dark. The compass is spinning in circles of rust. The ivory towers are turning to dust. We built for the ages but welded the lie. The gear and the statue beneath the gray sky. The lever is breaking the stillness of light. As cold heavy metal dissolves the uprights. A beautiful failure of angle and wheel. The soul of the marble is broken by skill. The compass is spinning in circles of rust. The ivory towers are turning to dust. We built for the ages but welded the lie. The gear and the statue beneath the gray sky. The lever is breaking the stillness. sky collapses on the transept floor, where saints in shattered stained glass preach no more. White marble veins are choked by rising soot, as iron vines entwine the pilgrim's foot. The goggles weep a slow and oily rain to wash the scriptures from the weather vane. The altar stones are cracked by frozen grease, and starving hounds hunt down the ghosts of peace. The copper heart within the tower slows, as jagged gears grind out their final throes. A toothless wheel spits out a lusted spring, while hollow bends refuse to wake or ring. The pendulum swings heavy like a scythe to reap the silence of the brave and blithe. The brass and bronze are weeping verdigris, as black smoke swallows up the gallery. The grand machine is eating its own hand, a kingdom built of salt and sinking sand. The pillars fall to feed the furnace fire, while gravity unstrings the golden lyre. The center snaps and flings sparks away across the wreckage of a dying day. The wreckage of a dying day. No oil remains to soothe the screeching joint. The compass needle fears the northern point. We trade our relics for a gallon of the black, and sell the sun for coal to warm the back. The ancient masonry begins to slide, with nowhere left for miracles to hide. A frantic mob tears down the velvet drapes to mask the terror of their hallowed shapes. The sanctuary reeks of burned out wire, as hungry shadows climb the crumbling spire. The clockwork ball stutters and then it stops below the height of jagged mountain tops. A world of spooling in a frantic heap, where only silence has a vow to keep. The grand machine is eating its
faces on a pedestal of lies, staring through the smoke with their hollowed out eyes. The museum walls are bleeding gold and lime, while the pavement screams for the end of the line. Polished marble under heavy black boots, tearing up the garden by the artificial roots. Your highbrow silence is a deafening sound. Watch your masterpiece crumble to the cold hard ground. The velvet rope is snapping, the gallery is trapped in a fever dream of flashing grid. Ignite the spark and let it hit. Smash the can and let the rubble fly underneath the jagged violet sky. Blood on the canvas, all till the wound. The old world order is out of tune. High art dying in a spray paint flood. Wash the pristine floors in the rebel mud. This is the friction, this is the flame. Nothing is sacred, nothing's the same. Yeah! Look at the crack in the ivory tower, leaking out fear by the minute, by the hour. You kept the gates locked, cut the price steep. Now the shadows are waking from a century of sleep. We don't need a frame, we don't need a back, with a jagged edge and the counterattack. From the alley to the altar, stripping the gold, bringing the cash to the stores you told. The statues are weeping, their noses are gone. Welcome to the arrival of a brutal new dawn. Gilded frames melting in the chemical heat. The sound of a struggle is the pulse of the street. Chisel and hammer meet the flawless face, erasing the myth of the master race. Every stroke of the brush was a brick in the wall. Now we'll witness the weight of a fall. Concrete rising where the columns once stood, turning to refining into something so good. The pedestal is empty, the legacy is torn. Out of the wreckage, the future is born. No more distance, no more grace. Look at the truth right in the face.
Fell snow,
Oh,
the snow,
skinny boy,
be controlled,
the soul,
and the low.
we stand alone. Smash the can and let the rubble fly underneath the jagged violet sky. Blood on the canvas, all till the wound. The old world order is out of tune. High art dying in a spray paint flood. Wash the pristine floors in the rebel mud. This is the that refuses to bow at all. I trace the geometry of a dream etched in stone, where every angle claims a kingdom of its own. The sculptor's chisel seeks the ghost inside the block, defying the ticking of the relentless heavy clock. Purity is a cold master with a grip of frost, counting every flawless line and the human cost. But beneath the temple floor, the pistons begin to pound, a different kind of logic rising from the hollow ground. The scent of Greece invades a sanctuary of light, as tectonic plates of metal shiver in the night. Oh, the marble veins are bleeding oh tonight. The pediment is cracking under the weight of sheer might, where the frieze meets the furnace and the pedestal breaks. The symmetry shatters for the structural stakes. The stillness of the statue versus the hunger of the wheel. The silent white prayer and the screaming black steel. The architect is weeping over the jagged serrated edge. The steam is rising hot above the sacred limestone ledge. Can the temple hold the engine, or will it burst the seams of these rigid ancient fantasies and calculated schemes? One side demands the silence of a tomb made of glass, the other demands the war as the heavy shadows pass. Iron teeth are chewing through the decorative lace, leaving soot upon the features of a perfect tragic face. The columns are now smokestacks, breathing heavy gray, as the order of the ages slowly starts to fray. We built a cage of beauty to contain the inner fire, but the spark became a mountain and the mountain is a pie. There is no peace in the geometry of a hollow man, trying to bridge the abyss with a delicate span. The gears spinning faster than a prayer can be spun. The battle for the structure has only just begun, between the smooth curve and the jagged rusted blade, in the shadow of the monument that we ourselves have made. The mortar is crumbling under the pressure of the heat, the rhythmic heavy percussion of a mechanical beat. The temple is a factor, the factor is a god, walking over hollow ground where only ghosts have trod. Oh, marble vein knocks leading on tonight. The pediment is cracking under the weight of sheer might, where the frieze meets the furnace and the pedestal blaze. The symmetry shatters for the structural stakes. The stillness of the statue versus the hunger of the wheel. The silent white pearl and the screaming black steel. now calcified and trembling in the grave. The holy glass is shattered and outgrown. Cold iron vines crawl up the marble spine. The pulpit grows beneath the weight of soot. We trade the vintage of the sacred wine for stagnant oil pooling at the foot. The giant gears are grinding in the throat of time. The leaden bells are heavy with the gray decay. We climb the wreckage of a paradigm to watch the golden axle snap away. The empire creaks on rusted hinges, now a toothless god within a steel machine. We wipe the grease, the tar, the fever, and burn the blueprints of what might have been. Surrounding his throat of time. The leaden bells are heavy, not the gray decay. We climb the wreckage of a paradigm to watch the golden axle snap away. The empire creaks on rusted hinges, now a toothless god within a steel machine. We wipe the grease of thunder, fever, ground and burn the blueprints of what might have been. A jagged sky reflects the furnace light. The cogs are choked with sand and bitter salt. The pendulum has frozen in its flight, and every ancient virtue finds its fault. No incense rises through the vaulted air, just acrid fumes of batteries and wire. The orphans of the wheel are gathered there. True, all there has beside the altar fire. The spring is coiled tight against the chest. 1,000 tiny teeth begin to slip. The grand design is put to final test. We feel a tightening in and frantic grip. The giant gears are grinding in the throat of time. The leaden bells are heavy with a gay decay. We climb the wreckage of a paradigm to watch the golden axle snap away. The empire creaks on rusted hinges near a toothless god within a steel machine. We wipe the grease upon our fevered brow, burn the blueprints of what might have been. The giant gears are grinding in the throat of time. The leaden bells are heavy with the gray decay. We climb the wreckage of a paradigm to watch the golden axle snap away.